I take welcome everyone to this webinar, Surrendering into the Goddess. So are you feeling the call to fully connect more deeply with all aspects of your feminine, all aspects of the sacred feminine, all aspects of the goddess within you? Are you feeling that deep calling to feel her presence, embodied within your body, to open your hearts and feelings and emotions, to feel fully connected to her intuition, her wisdom, to feel connected to her beauty, her shining light, to feel connected to her creativity, to her sensuality, her sexuality, the very life force within us that we feel and connect with, that in abundance, in creativity, that our life, our expression, to feel that deeper connection with fully feeling the feminine expression within us and how it feels and how it makes us feel to be in our body, to be in our hearts, to be in our feminine. So this is our journey this evening, a webinar of how it feels to surrender into the feminine, to allow ourselves to feel that deeper connection with her, with all aspects of her, and how it feels to feel free to express every aspect of my feminine, to express myself in my authenticity, to express how I feel, to express my feelings as I move into intimacy, into relationship, into wholeness, into connection with the divine. So, beloved ones, I am inviting you into this journey where we can surrender and what it will feel like to surrender. And I am Sophia Magdalena, and I am here this evening with KerryAnn May Rose, and we are going to invite you into this journey of surrendering into the goddess, surrendering into our feminine, into our sacredness of our feminine, all aspects of our feminine. And what it really truly means to surrender, which is to let go, to allow, to open, to receive. So Mia Cooling was supposed to be with us this evening, but unfortunately she's not well, so she's resting and taking care and nurturing herself. And so it will be myself and KerryAnn Mayrose, as I shared. So Mia will join us for the next webinar. And I will share more about Mia as we move through the webinar at a later stage. But for now, I'd like to share a little bit more of what surrendering into the goddess, surrendering into my feminine, surrendering what that means to me and what it has brought me to, where I am now. And yes, truly, as I shared, surrendering is about letting go. And I start by sharing a little bit more of my time in Bali, where I spent a number of years, and a moment at which I truly knew I had surrendered entirely, completely into my feminine body was when I surrendered into nature. It was an aspect of my feminine self that was calling me to surrender and become one with nature. And I'll always remember how I was walking one morning, early morning, and I saw the most beautiful, the most incredible lotus, pink lotus flower opening up, because in the early morning they open to the sunlight and close at night. And that this was a moment at which this particular lotus flower opened up before me. And I, in that moment, became one with the lotus flower. I became totally immersed in her beauty. And I became totally one. There was absolutely, it was not me looking at the lotus flower. I was the lotus flower. And I realized I'd become one with my feminine. That aspect of her beauty, that aspect of nature, of that life force, that cycle of energy that moves through me, that life force energy that's moving through me, that was just expanding in every cell of my being, and I was one. I was the lotus flower. And this has happened on a number of occasions with the sunlight, with the early morning sunrise, where I was not looking at it. I became it. And you may have had that feeling yourself when you felt completely immersed in that sunrise, where you felt one and divinely connected with Source. So that is what I'm referring to as, a moment of surrendering and becoming one. And as I am a breath worker, I have for many years been leading breathwork groups and facilitating breathwork. And I started my breathwork journey in Bali. And that is when that aspect of, surrendering into the breath, which is a journey of surrendering into spaciousness. And that led me into the whole journey of letting go. So in order to surrender, I had to let go. And letting go meant letting go of all my fears, my shame, my guilt, my vulnerabilities, of my body, my sexuality, anything that I was still energetically blocking me from letting go, from surrendering, was a journey that I made at the Way of Mastery ashram in Bali. So it was a community of Christ consciousness. And it was in that community that I began the practice of love's breath, which is a sacred breath, that conscious connected breath that brings you into that, state of consciousness, a connection with the highest state of consciousness. So you're moving through the body, through the heart, through the emotions, opening the feelings into a higher state of consciousness, which is the divine. So it was that journey of transmuting, of dissolving the fears, the feelings, the energies that allowed me to fully surrender into my body, into my heart, and to connect with who I truly am and what my soul purpose is. Connect. And one of the deepest, when you've made this journey where you've been in a place of victimhood, where you feel, this shame, this guilt, which is all part of victimhood, it's a journey of also feeling worthless. So you're no longer valuing oneself for who we are. So along with that practice of surrendering, I also released all beliefs, all thoughts of worthlessness. And I truly claimed my feminine. I truly claimed her in her wholeness, in every aspect of her, but specifically for me in the aspects of my sensuality, beauty, and sexuality. And it empowered me then into being the person I am now. That empowered me into speaking, into sharing, into speaking what I truly know to be true within my heart, and to sharing the most deepest spiritual embodiment of the divine feminine. So this was what surrendering has meant to me, and it completely, as I said, surrendering into the breath, into spaciousness, that deeper connection, transmuting, releasing, and letting go, and bringing me into that deeper connection again with the feminine, with my authentic self, with our original blueprint as women. This is who we are. all aspects of ourselves. So, having shared that a little more, I'd like to hand over now to KerryAnn May Rose for her experiences of surrendering and what it has meant for her and her life. I mean, for me, it's completely transformed my life. So it's a beautiful journey, part of the journey of connection of, with the truth, with authenticity, with love, with that deep place within me of unconditional love.
Thank you, dear Sophia. It's really beautiful to hear your experience and your story, for sure. Yeah, really, really touching. And so to share a little about my perspective of surrender, first of all. And so for me, surrender is kind of in two parts. We can surrender to be to begin with. So when we allow ourselves, when we let go, when we allow ourselves to let go, we we allow for the feminine to be felt. We allow for all our emotions, all our feelings. We let go into the body, which allows us and opens up this connection to our feeling body, our felt sense. It's our connection to our emotions. And as Sophia was saying, it's our connection to all aspects of our feminine. But when we surrender very deeply and move through all of those parts of ourselves, and we get to a deep place of stillness, the void, the black, the deepest feminine. Yeah, it is the black. It is that which many would say, especially indigenous tribes would say, is the seed, it's the black where all creation comes from. And so in a way we can consider our dark moon now. We are in the dark moon in Pisces, the deepest surrender. Yeah. And we're in the dark moon, the dark before the dawn, which is at midnight when the moon will give that slither of light of awakening to light that welcomes us in to see more, to feel more of what we want to bring to life. And I guess whether we are in the dark moon or in another space of allowing for surrender, we are dropping into this space of fertile void. Yeah, this void is especially fertile. And when this seed of creation, this seed of light drops in to that fertile void, is when that of creation, where they say the universe came from, you know? And so this is the beginning of the cycle of life, right? And for me, I truly understand it, not through reading a book, definitely not through reading a book. I've actually understood it through living it through my body. And I'll tell you the story from the painful side to begin with. So 20 years ago in my mid 20s, I was holding on. I mean, I was holding on. I was holding on to a life, a very masculine driven life of working in HR and recruitment, of work doing night class to try and like further my career, going out at weekends to see my friends, to party a bit. Uh, uh. I was literally like pushing myself and pushing myself and pushing myself to be more in the world, in this masculine world, you know? And how that manifested within my body was having a 42-day cycle as a woman. 42 days. 3 weeks of premenstruum, of not letting go. And so that is how, if we push ourselves as a woman and we hold on to this doing, yeah, this trying to be more in the world that we live in, is where we become contracted. We experience contraction in the body, contraction in the womb, contraction in the heart. And yeah, I was unable to let go and bleed in the cycles that I was intended to be as a cycle, as a woman, as a 28-day ideal cycle. And so yeah, my body screamed. I was experiencing extreme pain in my pelvis and contraction in my pelvis, problems sexually in contraction and pain sexually. I was experiencing quite extreme endometriosis symptoms. Hmm. And then my body screamed a few years later, like really screamed. And yeah, my emotional body collapsed. Yeah. My body just my all my emotions just screamed inside of me. And that is when I was truly called to surrender. The first time I truly felt that call for surrender, which was to let go and to truly feel everything that was happening within me. There's more of a story to it, but I keep it simple. And I let go of my job. I stepped into being freelance. I allowed spaciousness and allowed myself to feel more. I started doing yoga and meditation at the age of 28. It's interesting, it's 28 because as women, as life cycles, we go through 7 year cycles. It is a Saturn return time for women. And yeah, I was truly called to feel everything that was arising for me at that time. And through my journey with yoga and meditation, I began to balance my cycles better for sure. And I began to live a life where I was allowing myself spaciousness for creativity. And I felt this creative energy begin to move through me. I could feel this sexual energy moving through me. I was still experiencing the contraction and pain, but I was feeling this creative energy and I was beginning to make. I was doing, textiles and yeah, beginning to like create and customize and be playful as we are meant to be as a woman, right? And then 7 years later, I was 35, I had I guess, the most profound awakening again through a breakdown. And it was the time that I was truly most deeply called to meet my deepest trauma. And I was called to feel not only my own deepest trauma through this experience that I had, through this breakdown, this breakthrough. And I could feel all of the deepest trauma that was causing all of the contraction and all of the pain and all of the sexual issues that I was experiencing, all of the menstrual issues that I was experiencing. And I was called to face it all very deeply. But what was beautiful after 2 months of deeply meditating and using mantra and yeah, calling in the goddess in ways that I wasn't entirely sure. I wasn't fully knowledgeable at this time. I'd been doing yoga on an asana level for a few years, and I'd experienced the healing aspect of doing yoga and meditation. But I didn't know so much, I didn't know a lot. And yet, this practice was allowing me to deeply let go. And 2 months later, after this breakdown happened, I had a very, very powerful Kundalini awakening, very powerful sexual awakening that moved through all of the vulnerabilities and all of the, because it made me literally brought all the light in for me to see it all. It stirred everything up inside me. And for the last, that was 10 years ago. And for the last year, that's 10 years, I've been moving through this spiraling of this Kundalini energy within me. 2 years after this happened to me, I trained with Umadins Motuli in Yoni Shakti yoga for women. Yoga, yeah, it's a women's yoga and tantra. And this gave me the wisdom, not only of cyclical living, but also of the wisdom goddesses, the Vedic wisdom goddesses. And it was literally like giving me the piece of the puzzle that I so needed in my life. And it was at that point that I began to live cyclically as a woman. And I began to feel and experience what it meant to truly surrender through allowing myself the rest and spaciousness when I bleed. And I've been deeply, deeply committed in the last 10 years to resting, being, meditating, and allowing for this seed of creation to seed in my womb during menstruation. And my journey has been incredible. As from that 42-day cycle, I now have anything between a 28 and 32-day cycle, which is pain-free, which is an absolute blessing. And yeah, the creative energy that has come through that has been phenomenal. In like 5 years ago, I began to channel sacred art. So through being with menstruation, without going into too much detail, but it is our most open, and it is our most open capacity and open space for channeling as a woman. And so allowing ourselves to be opens up the channel for the goddess to come in and to create and to seed the creation from that space. In that black, it is the void, the black for women, this void of creation. And through our days of menstruation, we plant those seeds. We plant those fertile seeds for what we choose, to what we'd like to create, what we desire. We hear and feel within us what we truly desire to create, what we truly desire to see to come through into fruition. And we sense it, we hear it, and we feel it. And for me, it began to come through as sacred art, through that deep sense of that deep place of being. And through the cycles of my life. So when I experienced this awakening at 35, I remember waking up 2 days after my birthday, when this awakening had happened. And I shot up about 4 a.m. and I wrote probably the best poem that I've ever written in my life. And I don't know where it came from. And I can only say that on reflection of learning about the wisdom goddesses and this allowing for energy to move through, that I was channeling Matangi. I was channeling goddess Matangi. And it was Kalamatmika that was with me through the whole process of my sexual awakening and Kundalini awakening, along with Kali as well, to move through those shadows. And so this journey has been deeply profound for me. And I've learned the deepest surrender and experienced the deepest surrender through menstruation. And it is said that if we find this deepest surrender through our menstruation as women is when we allow for and cultivate this capacity for the deepest surrender during our postmenopause as women as well. So it is like this cyclical unfolding that allows us to seed our potential for creation when we bleed, to allow ourselves to release the fears, to release the trauma, to allow ourselves then from this empty place to open to receive and to hear those whispers of our most authentic truth in our hearts and in our wombs. And from that space, begin to truly allow that to unfold, literally like from a seed of a flower into a petals, into opening into a full flower, our summit bloom, to then fall away, to then be regenerated, this regenerative time of the cycle of when we bleed, allowing ourselves to regenerate. And from that space, from the composting of all that we've released, to then seeding the new and opening up. And this is our gift as women. And again, how we really align with the cycles of nature, both on the earth as with Goddess Gaia, the cycles of nature, and both with the cycles of the planets as well, the cycles of the moon. And so this journey has really been a deep embodied journey through my own cycles, my own inner rhythms, to truly understanding what it means to surrender to be and allow that truth to be deeply heard inside of me, from within me, to then that space of surrendering to give from that truth, from that deepest truth, so that we are giving from a place of our deepest authenticity, that seed of wisdom that has dropped in to us within from within that deep place of surrender and allowing for. And this is the gift of the feminine, the gift of being female too, but the gift of the feminine to truly allow ourselves to be, or the masculine within us to allow it to be, and then for the feminine intuition to spiral and to allow for ourselves to truly shine and express all that we wish to give, all that we wish to share, all that we wish to express without fear and without resistance. And so this is the journey. This is the journey of surrender. And I'd like to invite you into a practice now, that is a practice that I impart. A part of it was a practice this is a Yoni Shakti practice. So a practice that I learned from my teacher of, surrendering to the heart and surrendering to the womb space. And it doesn't matter if you have a womb or not. So all of these practices are very, very supportive for women who do not have a womb. We still maintain our etheric womb within the body, within the pelvis. So even if we've had a hysterectomy, then that etheric womb still remains, the energy of the womb still remains there. And I'll also share a unveiling practice as well that was from another circle space holder, Lisa Lockhead, that I learned a few years ago, which is absolutely beautiful. I love to honor my teachers, and it's an absolutely beautiful practice of unveiling the truth of who we are and what we desire. So inviting you into a comfortable seated position. Just want to make sure that you can all see me well. Once you're in a comfortable seated position, just allowing for yourself to feel the space beneath you wherever you are sat. And if you're struggling to really come into the body, just placing one hand onto your forehead, taking a deep breath, and as you exhale, just allowing your hand to come all the way down the side of the face and all the way down the body, allowing your awareness to follow the movement of your hand, and just stroking all the way down from the forehead, from the back of the neck, soothing the nervous system, soothing the vagus nerve, and just allowing for yourself to ground and to soften. Dropping deeper into the body, calling in this spaciousness of being in the body, this grounded felt sense of softening. And inviting you now to rest your hands onto your hearts. And this can be in any way, just resting the left hand over the right, or bringing your thumbs together and cupping your hearts, or like you have eagle wings, holding your heart. And allowing your eyelids to rest, or finding a soft space in the room to rest your gaze, to rest your eyes. And just allowing for your awareness to soften into your heart space. Surrender. How does that word land with you? as you rest with your heart. Surrender. Welcoming the exhalation to be your guide, to release, to letting go. Your guide to softening deeply into the heart space. Noticing any resistance, any moments or any sensations of feeling any contraction, and just taking a moment to be with those sensations. Breathing into those sensations. Perhaps asking your heart the question, is it okay for me to rest with you here? And just noticing what this asking for permission, how this asking for permission is received by the heart. Perhaps you feel the sensation, the feminine within, begin to soften. Perhaps your awareness feels now like it can move that little deeper into the layers of your heart. Each exhalation welcoming you to move a little deeper. Until you feel a soft connection with your heart. Whatever it is you feel is okay. Just ask that question, is it okay for me to rest with you? I am here in love. Can I rest with you in love? And taking a deep breath into your heart now. And as you exhale, bringing your hands into a downward pointing triangle. And as you exhale, bringing your hands, mudra, all the way down to your womb space. Down into the womb space, down into the earth, down into the black. And as you breathe in, cupping the hands together and breathing your hands back up to the heart space. And as you exhale, allowing your Yoni Mudra once again to connect your heart with your womb space. And allowing yourself to sink deeply into the dark, the black. Breathing in back to your heart space. Allowing this love, this deep connection with your heart to channel down to the womb space. Bringing love to your womb space. Perhaps reconnecting your heart and your womb space that is often left quite severed as a woman. So feeling all of the spaces in between your heart and your womb space as you allow your awareness to channel through. Feeling the connection to your yoni. And allowing for your root to be felt as it goes all the way down into the earth and how it feels to deeply connect with the earth. Feeling your heart, your womb space, your yoni and the earth all connected in one channel. Moving the energy and orbiting this loving energy through from your heart in this cyclical movement through to your womb space, to the earth, channeling love to perhaps all of those lost, maybe or broken parts of yourself that you may not have met in this emotional center of our womb space as women. Channeling the sacred from our heart into the sacred space of the womb. This space of creation, this space of creativity. And on this dark moon, just allowing yourself to rest your yoni mudra, your hands over your womb space. And how it feels to have the warmth of your hands cupping your womb space. And as you breathe, allowing each exhalation, as with your hearts, to drop you deeper into the center, the core of your womb space. And how it feels to move through this open space within the womb. How it feels to drop into this dark space, all the way into the core of your womb, or your womb space. Dropping into the emptiness. Allowing yourself to surrender to the depths of the unknown, the mystery of your womb space. Taking your time to be with her, to be with what arises as you allow yourself to surrender, to deeply, deeply surrender into the black. On this dark moon and moon, in this sign of surrender, Pisces. Feeling at the end of your exhalation, the deep surrender, the softness, the letting go. Allowing yourself to pause at the end of the exhalation. What it truly feels like in the void of the breath, the emptiness, the stillness. The deepest void within you. And how it feels then to feel the life force of the breath move in naturally without force. What it feels like to allow for the cycles of the breath to unfold naturally, just as nature cycles. Welcoming the depths of surrender at the bottom of the breath. Taking a pause now at the end of your exhalation. And as you begin to softly inhale, just welcoming your hands now to rest on your lap, palms facing upwards. And slowly, super, super slowly, begin to raise your hands up. Really slowly. As though you're moving from the space of the black, the emptiness. And as you unveil the mystery, unveiling the illusion, lifting the energy up, lifting the veil of any illusion, allowing the light in to see. And as you reach the top, just allowing for your hands, palm face down, to slowly move down now in the front of your body. Allowing this light, this slither of light in through your body. And reconnecting with your heart space now. And taking one hand on your heart and one hand on your womb space. And seeing this flicker of light now within your heart and your womb space. Dropping deeply into the essence, the deepest core of your heart and womb space. And just allowing for what is to be received, what is to be felt, what is to be heard within your deepest truth. And this could be through feeling, or it could be through words. Just allowing for the goddess to be heard. Allowing the goddess to be expressed. Maybe a subtle sensation, maybe a whisper of truth from the deepest parts of you. What is your sacred intention? What is the seed of truth that you wish to nurture for this earth, to give, to bloom, for yourself, for your family, your relationships, for the earth, for all? Whatever is felt or whatever is heard from within your heart and womb space. Taking 3 deep breaths now to bring that seed of intention, that seed of creation alive within you. And then when you're ready, bringing your love-filled hands over your eyes. And just taking a moment to massage around the eyes, around the face, slowly awakening, Slowly awakening to the light, to the space around you, taking your time. And once you've come round, we'd love to invite you to share your experience. And this could be through unmuting yourself and speaking your experience, or you can share in the chat box with us anything that arose for you, or anything at all, or your experience of surrender, whether it has been during this session, or whether it has been in another time in your life. Sharing your wisdom.
And if I can share as well, sharing what your sacred desire, what you desire to connect with in your feminine, what it is you're calling in to more deeply connect with.
I'm happy to share. um, excuse me. Hi, it's Claire here. I feel a real softness and a real peace. It was interesting as you were taking us through with the hand movements, like that really started me in a direction, and then in the end my hands were doing other things, but I was like, well, just let them. But it just felt there was this flow and gentleness, and it was almost like now that it felt like I was that lotus flower you were describing at the beginning. There was just this like real gentleness with the whole visualization or meditation or whatever. So it was really, really beautiful. And that essence of that gentleness is that flowing and feminine. Yeah, really, really beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Ali. Yes.
So if there's anything in the chat box, could I invite Sulika to read it out for us?
Yes, so Ali's shared, I had a huge feeling of lifting the energy when I raised my arms and hands. It was heavy and expansive, really beautiful.
Thank you, Sulika.
Yeah, I'll share. Yeah, I found the movement of bringing the love down into the womb really powerful, and I could sense, like when I had my hands on my womb, like a sort of a sadness there, a grief, and I'm sure that's around not having had children. So I was just really feeling that, and then I was just thinking how I can be quite dismissive around womb healing. Okay, I think perhaps that would be really maybe a good thing to do. Yeah, so thank you for that. Yeah, and
Thank you.
yeah, and Michelle shared in the chat, I had a sense of real stillness in my womb connecting to the dark moon. Yeah. Thank you.
So I could share a little bit. I'm Lena Christina, and as Sophia said, we have worked together over many years in breath work and changing our belief structure. The bit you can do in a short time, but you can start a journey. I think that's what a retreat or a workshop is. It puts seed into the ground, but to do the real changings that we might like to do, it takes time. It's not such an immediate process. It's a lot of different aspects that goes into it. What struck me in listening to you, both of you, is how very well I have been in touch actually with my female part, and how much I can be in gratitude to my mother, that she was a real fighting woman for her independence and for her rights to really create a life and a time where she could feel that she was in charge of her life. So in many ways, I have felt that I've been in charge of my life. Most of my life, I gave birth to both my children at home because I had studied home birth, and I know that this was the thing I wanted to give to my children, a really beautiful start. And I have felt very joined with my feminine as well as my masculine part in most of my life. What has been my journey, actually emotional, was that I didn't really feel that I was valued as a person, not specifically as a woman, but as a person per se. And I had to work through some of those emotional traumas that I know really came from that my mom was such an independent woman in her time. That was not so usual, but it meant that she had a store and she was working a lot. And as a child, I felt neglected from her, and she had not so much time to care for what I felt or what I wanted. I had to more be obeying and be a good little girl. But also, I must say that behind that good little girl was a dynamic power that wanted to create a good life for herself. And I'm very happy for the life that I have had so far, and that I have been able also to inspire many people to take their power and their ability to live the life that they dream of and that they deserve, and to work through the obstacles that have been blocking them or that have been in their ways. So I think you're doing a beautiful job, and I wish you all the best in the journey of liberating the female power in the world. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lena Christina. So beautifully shared.
We have a share in the chat from Susie. She says, feeling a deep connection with my heart and womb, gentle and soft. I love the movement from deeply internal to a growing out into the world, like the nurturing of a seed and allowing it to grow and release.
Thank you, Susie. Beautiful.
Great, thank you.
So if we have any more that would like to share, you're very welcome to share. Yes, Agnes.
Thank you.
Did you go? The chat box here.
Yeah. So no more shares in the chat box. Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome, Agnes. Yes, thank you for hosting this. It was beautiful. She says. You're welcome. You're very welcome.
Well, if we have completed our sharing, then I'd like to share a little more about your, about surrendering and different aspects of the goddess that we are inviting you into. And we are actually hosting, or leading, I should say, a retreat in the south of France, which is called Walking with the Goddess. And we will be leading this at the venue in the south of France, which is close to the sacred sites of Mary Magdalene. And I will be leading you into the journey of the teachings of Magdalene and how they weave into the aspects of the goddess. So she as a goddess is also in the shade of Isis. So it's also bringing in, the aspect of the empowered aspect of Isis. So she is one of our goddesses, but she actually is overall encompasses and embodies all the goddesses. And my journey will be to guide you to these sacred sites, which include Rennes-le-Château and the caves, her caves in the valley opposite Rennes-le-Château, and the Fountain of Love, which I will speak more of. And it's a journey that we'll weave through in the mornings from the Kundalini Yoga, which Mia will be leading you into, and softening into the movements and theme of each goddess of the day. So we will move through the theme of Tara and how we embody and embrace Tara and all aspects of Tara, what Tara means to us, and the frequency of Tara, which will be guided through a meditation through Mia and the movement and Kundalini Yoga, and then go into a workshop which is about the embodiment of, which will be the embodiment of Tara, which takes us more deeply connected to Tara, who is of the earth, the mother, the unconditional love, Gaia, and into that deeper sense of connection with unconditional love within us. And then that takes us into the journey of the earth, and in the afternoon, we'll be visiting the caves of Mary Magdalene, which are small caves in the hillside, which we will enter into, and for you to have your own deep, experience, initiation of what it feels like to be in the presence of Tara, be in the presence of Magdalene, to be in that state of deeper connection with the earth, with the elements of the earth and the nurturing and nourishment of the earth. And that is an example. So each day we move through the different goddesses. That is Sundari, into our sensuality, sexuality, into Matenge, the wild aspect of our wisdom and our intuition as a woman, and into Kali to support us through the journey of transformation and transmuting and releasing and letting go of the energies that have been blocking us from fully accepting and loving and connecting with that deep aspects of unconditional love and acceptance, and with our authentic self as and our connection with the divine aspect of a feminine, so that we can become whole and one and connected again. So Kali is a powerful energy of transformation and transmuting as it moves through the energy of anger. So it's working with those deep feelings of anger and frustration, and using that anger energy to transmute into that empowered sense of connection with who I truly am, releasing and letting go of those thoughts, beliefs, and conditions that have kept us suppressed as women and disconnected from our true feminine, divine feminine goddess, our true divine feminine selves. And moving, through the earth, the water elements of emotion release, and through the fire, and through into the spirit, into ether, into connecting wholly with our spirit, so that the divine feminine and aspects of the divine. So each day the journey will take us deeper into those connections that we are making through our practices in the morning. And you will have that experience of being, at the fountain of love, where, Yeshua and Mary Magdalene moved into that deep inner union between the masculine and feminine. So it's also a journey as we connect with our feminine, divine feminine, we're also connecting with our masculine, because there is no separation, because we are one. So we become one in inner union. So it's a journey of inner union, and that will lead into the pilgrimage aspect, where we will have that experience of becoming one, and the emotional experience of the water to cleanse us and to release and to let go and to surrender into our, all aspects of our body and emotions in our hearts. So the retreat is a 7-day retreat, as I shared, and it's at this beautiful venue, which is very close to the sacred Mary Magdalene sites. And so we will be spending half the day with the movement work, the connection with our bodies, with the aspects of the feminine, with our creativity, with expression of ourselves in our feminine, and how that feminine wants to express itself, because we each have our own unique feminine, we each have our own unique soul and purpose. And so we'll be guided into, as we've shared, the seed, and moving with that seed to manifest the seed that we are dreaming of, that we are creating for, so that at the end of the retreat, I truly believe that, we will have shifted some of the blockages and energies and moved into connection with all aspects of ourself in wholeness, in oneness, in the divine aspect of bringing spirit into our body. And we'll be able to move from the retreat into, taking the empowered, more enlivened, softer, gentler, more wise feminine that we are, back to our world and back to our relationships and our loved ones, and be able to feel, life moving through us, as a life energy move through us, feel free to actually be, and be who we truly are. So that is the retreat that we are offering in the south of France. And I would invite you to, if you are interested in knowing more about the retreat, because as I shared earlier, Mia Calling is also one of the facilitators, along with myself and KerryAnn. And she has the wisdom. She spent many years in Bali, when I was in Bali with her. And I was moving into the sacred sexuality workshops, and bringing my own healing that I'd gone through in the way of mastery into workshops, and supporting women in moving through and clearing, their wounds and their feelings, and their feelings about themselves and their sexualities, to open into that life force energy and creativity. And Mia likewise was in Bali, and she was relating very deeply to each of the goddesses, and each goddess she has embodied, she's brought that, she's worked with and explored, and she wants to share that with you. She wants to share an exploration, to explore each goddess with you, and the wisdom, the intuitiveness, the manifestation, the abundance, the joy, the ecstatic bliss, the connection with our divine life force within us. So she is we'll be sharing more of that, and specifically, I feel in the area of creativity and abundance. And each morning she will be leading the Kundalini Yoga and preparing us for the day. So, if you would like to know more and more about me, about KerryAnn, about myself, and what we're sharing in this retreat, and what we feel you will benefit from, and who this retreat is for, and know more about the venue and some of the sites we'll be visiting, I really invite you to look at our webpage, at my webpage, I should say. And meanwhile, though, before we share the website with you, I just invite Sudhika now to share some slides to make, the visual, to have a visual sense of what it is I'm sharing with you. If you slides of some of the sites that we'll be visiting and of the venue as well, where we will be staying for a week together, in this beautiful place of sisterhood, yes, of coming together in sisterhood. Thank you, Sudhika.
Sorry, I've just got to find them again. There we go. So this is of the venue, Sophia, yeah?
Starting with the venue.
Yeah.
Well, we were thinking starting with the sites, because that's what I was hearing more about at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah. The sacred sites we'll be visiting, just to get a sense of where we'll be, and places where you can feel and come into presence and feel and open, surrender and open to receive the messages that come through from from the divine, from the source that we may connect more deeply with. So there's one that is a view of Bucharest, and the area we'll be staying in, which is close to Bucharest, which is a very powerful holy mountain. And it is where the Essenes actually, when I say the Essenes, when Mary Magdalene, when she landed in the south of France at Saint-Marie-de-la-Mer, she then traveled with the Marys and with the Essene brothers and sisters who were with her to this area, to the base of Bucharest, where she gathered together the Essene community and started sharing the teachings of Christ, the teachings of Yeshua, and her own teachings that came through Yeshua of her gospel. So this is a very magical, very powerful energy here. So you can really feel the presence of the Essene community here and the teachings of the path of love and the path of the rose and the teachings of Christ. And that's a view from the venue. This is where we look out from the venue, and it's a beautiful location. You can see in the distance some of the Lower Pyrenees mountains. So that is where we will be. Thank you, Sudhika. And yes, we'll be on a pilgrimage, step by step, walking into the forest to experience some of the magic and the feel into our own wisdom and intuition as we move in meditation, in connection with the elements of the earth, with nature, as we move through the elements together. The three Marys and Rennes-le-Château in the chapel. And the fountain of love that I was mentioning, the water, the source. This is the cell, the source of this river flows, this fresh water pool flows into this pool where we shall be leading a ceremony together as we move into and experience, the water together. And as we experience that inner union within us too, within this space.
Do you want to see some of the venue pictures, Sophia?
Yes, and now we can show some of the venues. So this is where we are staying, Santosha, which is a yoga eco retreat, and it is an eco retreat. Everything that we eat will be, organic and freshly prepared, and they've made an effort to make it into an eco retreat. So all aspects of it were sustainable and eco, which is beautiful because it's a very natural place to be. So it's very nourishing and restorative, of the feminine. It's beautiful. I know it quite well, and it gives us also this is the yoga room, the space in which we'll be leading our workshops, and it has this beautiful view and a meditation. It has a terrace off it, which is private, where we can actually spend time more privately in meditating. And this is an example of one of the rooms. And the gardens also have spaces where we can, during the time when we are, integrating some of the processes we're moving through, where we can be quietly on our own, as well as when we are together, so then we come together. And we will come together after the beautiful meals that have been prepared after the dinner. We will have evening events as well, where we can share more of our experiences of the day and be leading you into different ceremonies and practices as well in the evening time to complete the day. And yes, here's the dining area, gives you an idea of the food as well. Thank you, Sudhika. I think that gives you just a visual a visual sense of where we'll be and where we'll be staying. So that's beautiful. So now, if you are interested and you would like to know more about the retreat, I invite you to look at the website, which is www.sophia-magdalena.com. And there you will find out, you'll have a lot more information about our retreat and what's planned for the retreat, and more about us. And we'll also have, Q&A, question and answers. And so do look at the webpage if you are interested in joining us. And if you would like to if you have questions too about the retreat and are more curious and would like to contact us, you may contact us on the email breathe@sophiamagdalena.com, and or both of us will be able to answer any questions you have.
Or if you have any questions now, equally, to us, then they're very welcome.
You're very welcome if you have questions now about anything that's been shared today, of our practices or other practices that may be shared during the retreat, as you've had just a feeling into what it is we will be offering in the retreat. And if you have questions, you're very welcome now to ask any questions, specific questions about this. If there are no questions now, I just thank you very much for joining us and for getting a feel of what we will be offering in our retreat, and invite you to, to look at it if you're interested to know more, to look at the webpage.
Just add that Sophia is a beautiful teacher, and she is so full of love that she's sharing in her sessions, and she will truly be a very safe and, I would say, a guide along your way that you can trust.
Thank you, Lena.
Thank you.
I second that. I echo 100%.
Thank you.
So, Siddiq, I see you're open. Are you about to share?
No, I actually I do have one question. It's not about the retreat. It's more about what we've been sharing today. And KerryAnn, you were saying particularly about using the menstrual cycle as a place to kind of tap into your creativity. So I know you're not there yet, so I'm not sure if it's you or Sophia who can answer, but is there, for those of us that are postmenopausal, is there still like a cycle where we can tap into our creativity more, do you feel, or is it just more
Yeah,
available?
absolutely. I mean, this is the beauty of cycles is that within us as women, but they're also, around us. We have the cycles of nature. Is a very, very deep one to connect with. Yeah. So connecting with the seasons of nature, allowing yourself the deep spaciousness, of winter time and the deep rest to allow for that emptiness and seeds of creation to be planted and gestated there. And if you want to expand on that, then the cycles of the moon are also a really potent way of continuing that cyclical way as a woman. And, for some women, they don't miss it. For other women, they do, and so it is a way of continuing that as a woman. Or if you haven't had the connection to your cycle so much, to your menstrual cycle as a woman through your life, and you feel a deep grief, then all is not lost, right? You can still connect with this inner feminine through nature and through the cycles of the moon, and still come home to this deep felt essence within you, through allowing yourself to let go. And that's where we feel the deepest inner bliss. And it's that seed, like I say, of planting those seeds for our fullness, our creativity. And when we're birthing all of these beautiful, authentic projects out into the world, or this beautiful art, or whatever it may be, that we, writing, whatever it is for us, that it's come from the deepest authentic place within us. It's come from our deepest truth. And, the nature speaks truth to us, a beautiful way of connecting to the cycles is through nature, because nature speaks the deepest truth, and that is mirrored within us as women. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. And talking of, listening, it's listening to nature.
Yeah.
Like listening, really listening and learning how to listen and be in that still place of listening to your intuition, and that nature is expansive, it's the guidance comes through that listening. And that's beautiful. Thank you. And in terms of creativity, I have to add a little pitch here. There is a day when we move into Lakshmi, which is, the goddess of abundance and creativity and all aspects of the wholeness of the feminine in manifesting, her dream. So that day we are offering you a day in which, we will be able to connect more deeply with our bodies and with the feminine aspect of our yoni and connect with our yoni. And we'll be inviting you into a journey of actually creating painting, art and having that conversation with our yonis, with our feminine yoni. So that journey of the divine passage, which is one of our deeper journeys of deeper connection with our sacred feminine. Yes.
Yeah, very deeply healing, very, very deeply healing to create art of these sacred parts of us as women. Yeah, to express our our connection to it through art. It's beautiful, really beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. So if we feel complete, if everyone's complete, I'd like to thank you again for being here. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Stay in contact with us if you feel to. And we continue our journey of deepening and surrendering into our feminine. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Blessings, everyone. Thank you so much. So lovely to meet you all.
So much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you all for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.